Hello, guys, everyone. Welcome to Pipehire webinar today. We have Liz Trotter, the owner of American Made in Olympia, Washington, and also the co-owner, I guess, of Castle Keepers and her partnership with Castle Keepers Institute. There's so many things you do that I'm curious how you handle everything, because I see you everywhere and I'm like, I need to learn from Liz and how she does things in her business and how she just multiplies everywhere.
Well, we have lots of different businesses, that's for sure.
So thank you, Liz, for having this time with us. It's really important for us to learn from you. And I'm honored to really invite you to this group. And I just have some specific questions that I want to dig into, and I'm excited.
Yay, great. Well, I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you so much, Juan.
Cool.
I've loved having you on our show as well. So looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you. So I kind of did a lot of research about what you were doing, and I really like that some of the things that came up into my research was, how do you really build that company culture? This is something that we talk a lot about, but not many people know how to do it right. You know, this is very common in bigger companies like Trader Joe's, for example, or, you know, big corporate companies that can really have the budgets and the people and maybe the big offices to really build a nice company culture. But this is something that I've been wanting to implement in my company and improve it and improve it. But I want to really know how you build and keep this company culture going and alive. And if you can start sharing on that and how you make it happen, how you do it, what are the good practices. I just want you to really tell us your book of business about building company culture for house cleaning businesses.
Sure. Well, what I can tell you first is you're not going to like my answer. Nobody ever likes my answer. But if you can really listen to what I tell you and not think about that I'm just trying to give you some sound bite, you'll see that I'm right and you'll be able to do it too.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So here's the secret.
All right. We're ready.
Every company already has a company culture. Your company already has one. My company already had one. Every company already has a company culture, because I think that that phrase is used so often that people think it's like mythical. It's some fancy schmancy thing. It's not. All that a company culture is your people. Who are your people? What do they believe in? How do they act? And what do they do? That's all your company culture is. So whatever your people are doing right now, whatever your company stands for right now, that's your culture.
Good or bad?
Yeah, good or bad, right? Whether you like it or not. And so that, I think that's the secret one, right? Is how do you create the culture that you want?
There you
Not
go.
just how do you get a company culture, because you already have one.
That's true. That's two different questions. Very similar, but two different questions.
Totally, right? And it's really easy to feel like I have no idea how to do it. But yes, you do. You already kind of know. So the first thing is you have to decide what culture you want. That's the very first thing. Trader Joe's didn't just all of a sudden start hiring the people that act the way that they hire. Chick-fil-A is another really good example, right? Everybody talks about Chick-fil-A and their culture, but Chick-fil-A didn't get the culture that they have because they just magically hired these people that started acting in these certain ways. They decided what they wanted. They hired people that had natural tendencies in those areas, and then they trained them. And they consistently hit that message.
True.
If you work at Chick-fil-A, Trader Joe's, Southwest Airlines, any of these places that have a very specific culture, you're going to see that they hit on that message constantly. They never let go of the message.
True.
Yeah. And they don't even have to do it because we do it for them. Like we already know what Chick-fil-A's culture is.
Yeah.
And we hold them to their standard. We already know what Southwest Airlines culture is. and we hold them to that standard. If you get somebody at Southwest Airlines that is not Uber friendly and doesn't have a good sense of humor, you're going to complain because
Yeah.
that's not right. And if you get somebody at Chick-fil-A that doesn't say, you say thank you, and they don't say my pleasure, they say, you're going to complain because you're going to, we all are holding them to this standard. So that would be the one little distinction that I would say, going back to what you asked earlier. How do you create this big company, good culture?
Right. Yeah.
If you start small, decide what you want, start infusing it into your company, hire the right people, train them, make sure that they do it, and then hold the standard. And then as you grow, everybody around you will hold the standard. So you guys probably all know from your own companies, there are certain people, I'm guessing, you have certain people in your company that hold certain standards. Am I right?
Totally. Yes.
Whatever those standards are that they like. They're like, oh yeah, hey, this is how we're supposed to clean sinks. Or this is how we're supposed to, whatever it is. Hey, why aren't your towels folded correctly? Why are you doing whatever wrong? So we call those people like your core culture. So those are your people that are already deciding, and probably based on what you taught them,
Yeah.
what your culture is. And those people are super influential. Those people are gold. So those people are the people that naturally help you get your culture going because they love your culture already. Whatever it is that you're telling them to do, they like it. They think that's the way it's supposed to be, and they're mad when other people don't do it. That's the win.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah. So does it make sense how it's not?
It
Once you
does.
get the right people, they start helping you. All right. So I think we've talked a little bit in the past about like DISC assessments and evaluating some of your people and understanding their natural behavioral style.
Yeah.
Is that me?
No, that was me. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. Oh, that's good. I'm glad it's you and not me. It's your show. You can do what you want.
No,
Your culture.
that was
All
me.
right.
Okay.
So when we're talking about DISC, there are 4 basic styles. And then there's, most people have like a combination of the 2 styles. Well, one of the styles is what we call high C. And the word for the C is compliance. These are people that love to do things the right way. And we all know those people. They're like so picky. If they see anybody else doing it, what they consider to be the wrong way, they're going to be upset about it. They're going to complain. They're going to talk about it, right? To whoever. Those are your high C people. We all want to have some of them in our company. For every good thing that a behavioral style has, there's also something that's maybe not so great. So the high C people also, they don't like to be told that they're not doing something right. So your high C people that hold that really high standard for other people and for themselves, if they aren't doing something right, they're also the people that are really irritating. When a customer calls and says, hey, Liz didn't clean my floor in the bathroom, that high C person will say, Liz will say, yes, I did. I did. What are you talking about? Those dogs, those kids, those, So they have the one really great thing, but they also have this other thing. So you kind of have to learn how to manage both of those, which is what most people really want to know about when they're asking about culture, building a strong culture.
Do you run any DISC profiles before hiring?
I do, absolutely.
Yeah.
For every single person that we hire. And actually, if you guys aren't doing this, if you know anything about DISC or behavioral assessments, you can go to just do a DISC search for, or not a DISC search, a Google search for Tony Robbins, Robbins.
Yeah.
Free DISC. And And there is a free disc that is out there that I recommend to anybody who doesn't want to pay for it. It is not 100% accurate, but it's close enough, y'all. It's close enough,
Good.
especially for free, right? I mean, if people are giving you stuff for free, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to get you what you want, right?
Right.
And it will. It'll get you what you want. So we because my business sells disc also.
Oh,
So
really?
so because I already have it, I use my own disc. And of course, I'm going to give it to everybody that applies. I
Okay.
make take a disc and I find out if it's somebody that I want, because there are certain styles that I want and certain styles that I don't want.
What do you typically be, I mean, high C is kind of your preferred candidates, or what's your order of preferred or more,
Yeah.
better type of candidates?
So uh, typically with disc, the majority of people will have two styles that we call high. Okay, so like high, and there's four styles. There's D, I, S, and C.
Correct.
So usually people will have two, like high DI or high IS, high CS, whatever.
Mhm.
My first choice is high SC. So that S is steadiness. Those
Mhm.
are the people that come to work every
Every day.
time. They like to be on time. They like to do the same job all the time, right? They enjoy doing the same customers over and over again. That's your high S. And
Yeah.
then your high C are those conscientious people. Those are the people that are really, really picky, right? So high SC is my first favorite for a cleaning professional.
Okay.
My second favorite is going to be these are, they're not as cool, but I still like them, is a CS. So CS is the same basic things, but the picky part is first. And that just means that sometimes they're a little bit harder to deal with. But I still love them. Love me some CSs.
Right.
And then after that, I like an SI. So steadiness, and then high I is influencing. So
Mhm.
SI would be after that. And then IS after that, or IC. Actually, if you can find an IC, they're awesome, but they're so rare. They're like unicorns out there. So, but if I can find them, I really love them. Yeah, Jacqueline, you have experience with this? Yes. Oh my gosh, right? ICs are, how delightful are they though, right? Really good at dealing with people and also really picky. So the only style that I'm really not a fan of at all
Mhm.
for my cleaning professional is typically a high D. So, and I will hire a high D if it's the second style. So I will hire like an ID or an SD. I won't hire a CD. And I won't hire a DC at all. I won't hire either one of those styles for any position in my company. But that's because I am an SI.
Okay.
So it doesn't, so you want to know what your own style is so that you
Yeah,
know who
of
to
course.
hire and who you're going to work
I
well
see
with.
that you really dominate this topic. Like you're really into it. I mean, I've been dabbling into it and learning from it,
Yeah.
and still just getting my feet into this. And the more I read about it, it's very important in the process of hiring and selecting people. And this is something that I've been thinking on how to implement it in Pipehire.
Yeah.
And because I'm really focused on making this process a lot better. And I'm glad that you spoke about this, because I'm really just investigating about the disc, and I didn't know you had preferences. And I'm sure you, through the years, you've proven this process that works
Yeah.
or not. So,
And so I've been teaching disc for quite a while now. I've been teaching
okay,
disc for, I want to say about 6 years. And
okay,
so I do a lot around disc, but I'll tell you that in 2021, I think it's going to be even more important. Is anybody else like me struggling with finding people, finding good people to work? That can't just be me, y'all, right?
yeah. In general, the whole market is obviously with the different economic stimulus that we have, and
Yep.
in general, the post-COVID situation. I mean, there's still people in the houses not working and just staying there on the couch watching TV. So yeah, we're in a weird scenario and momentum in this hiring stage. But I mean, I believe and I've seen that there's still great people out there, but they are just harder to find, or they are already employed somewhere else. So
And
definitely,
another piece of that, I think too, one is they're out there, but we have to have a better job than we've ever had to have in the past
yeah,
because everybody's looking for people. And so since they're looking for people, the people that we used to be able to hire are able to get other jobs that maybe can be perceived as better than ours, better than a toilet cleaning job, right? Maybe. So we have
yeah,
to be careful. We have to work a little bit, I don't want to say harder, but we have to
smarter.
work a little bit, yeah, a little bit differently, right?
Yeah, yeah,
To be
I've
able to
seen
get.
that, and also depending on the market and the city, there's
Mhm.
also a little bit of change. San Francisco Bay Area has such a different type of applicants than in, I don't know, in Nebraska, for example. They're just so different demographics, and that's something that I've been noticing in our customers is like some have great results, some have average results, and it's also changing depending on if this is a city or rural area or
Absolutely.
a vacation spots, and all of that changes the dynamics of the people available for work. So thank you, you're
I
helping
can't
me.
agree more. I can't agree more. Additionally, there are a lot more people. I think the last number I saw from SHRM was up to as much as 33% of the workforce is now independent.
Wow,
33%? What?
that is huge.
That's, it used to be 2%. So those are a lot of our people that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays we just need a phone and a car, and we're in business. I mean,
Mhm,
doing delivering packages,
mhm.
cleaning houses, putting up TVs on the walls.
Right?
We're really into the gig economy, and everybody can be in business with just barely doing, knowing just how to drive. So, uh,
Yep.
yeah, so that's where you say we need to have a better job and we have to sell our job better, and I definitely believe that. And when I see some of these job posts which are just very plain and simple and boring, I was like, we need to have good copy, good energy. We have to transmit that this is a good job that has benefits, that people can make a decent living, and all of this is very important to really sell our job. And now more than days we need to be writing this. I even hire a copywriter to help me do some copy on
Yeah.
our new job descriptions, because I was thinking that sometimes we need to put some flavor into it,
Yeah.
make it funny, make it different, and all of that affects the conversions of people applying into your company or applying somewhere else.
Yeah. And if they're going to apply for jobs, period, there are people out there, I don't know about you guys, but if there are people out there applying for jobs, I want them to apply at my company.
Oh
I
yeah,
want to be the one that says, no, 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 I don't want you. I don't want them saying, oh, no, no, I don't want to apply there. Come on now.
yeah,
I need you to want to apply at my companies
yeah,
because I need people. So I need them applying with me. So uh, this goes back to your original question and why you asked me on here is
yeah.
company culture. What is making us attractive? Why would people want to work at a toilet cleaning company? Well, because there's a lot more than just cleaning toilets there.
Yeah.
Right? It's a good company, but why? What's good about it? And then you gotta. So this is you probably see this. You were looking at a lot of job ads. You said Juan.
Yeah.
My guess is you're also seeing job ads that are not actually entirely honest or truthful or
Yeah.
accurate. They're saying things like a fun place to work, right? And then the next thing that you see is, yeah, it's a fun place to work. must have a driver's license, must be able to pass a background check, must be here at exactly 7 o'clock, must this, must that, must this. Yeah, sounds real fun.
Yeah.
Right, so we're seeing that.
Yeah.
So, because people are not, again, clear, which was my first point, right? The very first thing you have to do when you're trying to build the culture that you want is get clear about what it is that you want. First, what type of company do you want to build? And so this is the second piece of that. What do you care about? What's important to you?
Mm-hmm.
And so we shouldn't all have the same culture. We shouldn't.
Yeah.
Your company shouldn't be the same as my company, shouldn't be the same as Marcy's or Catherine's or Jacqueline's. We should all have different companies and different company cultures because we're different people.
Yep.
We care about different things. I bet you guys can tell that all of my employees are high energy. What do you think? Anybody have an idea about that? My employees are all high energy. And that's the part of the culture of my company. Now, part of the culture of my company is high energy because that's something I care about. And I really want people to have this high energy because it matters to me. If I get somebody coming to my job, applying for a job, and just wondering how much does it pay and like what time do you have to be there and like do I have to work every day? Am I hiring that person?
Definitely not.
No. But you know what? Some people are going to hire that person. Some people are going to think, I like that they ask a lot of questions. They care about the pay. They want to know if they're going to be there every day. And they like that they're slow, that they talk slow. They might like that because they want the employee to go into the house and clean more slowly. Maybe they clean, big, huge mansions and they want them to look to the customers like they're moving really slowly through the house.
Yeah, true.
That's a style.
Yeah.
Why not? That's a culture. That's totally legitimate too. You guys get that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why that first thing is, what do you care about?
Wow.
What do you like? What do you want? What do you want to see? And then hire those people as much as you can. Now, didn't I just a second ago say, oh, we can't find any people? So sometimes I'm hiring people I don't love, y'all. Sometimes I'm hiring Susie over here. If anybody tells you they never hire people they don't like, you might want to double check on that and maybe check in because I do. Have you guys ever had to hire people that you didn't especially love, but you needed someone? You need people. I need people.
Yeah.
I have to have 34 people working for me. If I don't have 34 people, if I've got 31, guess what? When 3 people come through the door, I'm hiring them. As long as they're not too horrible, I'm going to hook them up with somebody really amazing. And I'm going to replace them as quickly as I can. But sometimes we have to hire less than ideal people.
Yeah.
But here's the caveat. Not until you have those core people. Remember, we talked earlier about the core culture?
Yeah.
Till you get that core culture people, don't hire those people. You're better off with nobody than the wrong person until you get the core. Because if you don't have the core culture first, what's your culture?
Those new people that you're bringing.
The bad ones.
The bad ones.
That's your culture. And it is really hard. Have you guys recognized how hard it is to change your culture?
Oh.
That is so much harder.
Yeah.
Creating a culture from scratch is so much easier than changing a bad culture. Have you guys all been in, how long have you guys been in business? Can you hold up your fingers or show me? 3 years, 15, 16 years, 10, 17 for you, Jacqueline, 17, 1 for you, Catherine, and 2 for you, Marcy. All right. So maybe for Catherine and Marcy, maybe you guys haven't had to deal as much with having a bad seed, or what I call an onboard terrorist. Okay, I call them OBTs. Okay, it's that person that is just creating the chaos, bringing the chaos every single day. Maybe you haven't gotten one of those people yet, but I promise you, Juan, you've hired at least one of those people. Jacqueline, you've hired at least one of those people. I've hired more than I can count, right? More than I can count, right? Yeah. And so the deal is, when your company is small and you don't have that core culture, one onboard terrorist and one OBT can tank your company. Yep. It can make it so hard to rebound. It can make it so hard to create a new culture, because that's what you're known for. And now all of a sudden you have to overcome this bad thing, where in the beginning, there's nothing to overcome. You're just starting from scratch.
Yep.
So it's, and nobody really sews anymore. You know, if y'all were older, you'd understand this. But so back in the day, we used to sew. Okay. And when we sewed, you made stuff, making it from scratch, so easy. Get a pattern, whip that thing out. Oh, but if somebody wanted something altered, they wanted you to take their blouse and take it in, make it fit. Oh my gosh, we're talking so much work. And that's how it is with your culture.
Wow. That's incredible. I really like this analogy, and I believe that, yeah, changing bad culture into good one is so hard. You sometimes have to start from scratch and just find new people completely. And I've been 16 years in business, and I've hired everyone, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And nowadays, we're really protective about who we hire, because that one bad apple can start to change the rest. And sometimes we were really guilty of taking too long to fire people because we needed them. But nowadays we say this person is damaging the company culture, is making this, we have to remove this person, because otherwise we're going to have to start to replace more people, and we don't want that. So thank you for sharing that.
Have you heard of Laura Smith and All Star Cleaning? Do you know her, Juan?
No, I don't.
Jacqueline. So she has a $2.5 million company, and it's called All Star Cleaning in Jacqueline, Fort Collins. Yeah, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Okay.
And Laura hired me a couple years back because they were really struggling. They had and she's written articles about this, etc. This is not any kind of a secret, you guys. Yeah. She had what we dubbed, we named her situation, we named it Ocean's 13. Okay. So have you heard of that, Jacqueline? Have you heard of Ocean's 13? Okay. So she had, I think at that time, she had about 46 employees. And in one day, while she was out of town, her operations manager, Aja, had to fire 13 people.
Wow.
Bam, just gone. Y'all had to ever fire 13 people? That's a lot of people to have to get rid of in one day. And actually, she didn't have 40. I think she has like 43 now. I think at the time, do you remember how many she had, Jacqueline, by any chance?
I want to think that it was she was fluctuating to the 20s to 30s.
Okay, so maybe.
Juan, you actually heard the story. It's Derek's girlfriend.
Yeah, Derek's girlfriend.
So you've heard it. Well, Post will love it. Derek showed it in one of the calls. But anyways, back to you, Liz. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right. Exactly.
So half of her workforce pretty much was gone in a moment.
I think it wasn't quite half, but it was a lot of people. And she had to fly me to Fort Collins for a week to completely recreate her culture almost from scratch.
Wow.
And it was hard. I'll tell you what, we put in like 50 hours, like all of us, so how many hours, we talk about man hours, right? We all talk about man hours in this business.
Yeah.
We probably put 250 man hours into having to fix that culture, because one person, it started with one person who spoiled the second person, who then spoiled two more, and then they had four, and then all of a sudden it just blew up.
Wow.
Like, yeah, and that's what happens. That's what happens with that OBT. They can destroy everything. Luckily, Laura had a very loyal it was her sister
Mhm.
that people didn't know was her sister that
Mhm.
got invited to the group and found out what was going on and told Laura. Who knows where it would have gone if her sister hadn't been there
Wow.
to tell
That's a
her.
smart strategy.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a strategy. She just got lucky. And
Oh,
sometimes we do. Sometimes we get lucky, right? Yeah.
wow.
So that is really at the core of the message, that when your company does not have core culture people, that you cannot afford to have any OBTs. None, not even one. So you have to hire the right person. So I don't know what size your companies are, Catherine and Marcy. I've seen lots of companies that can grow really, really fast. So I don't want to make any type of assumption.
Yeah.
But if your companies are still small, then absolutely protect that core. Hire great people, give them good training, pour into those people. I talk a lot about matter, meaning, and measure, and accountability, but especially the matter, meaning, and measure. And these three things are the key things that you want to pour into your people to create the culture that you want. And it doesn't matter what culture you want, these three things will help you get there. So the first thing is make the people feel like they personally matter. Something about them is so awesome that they personally matter to either you or your company, whichever one. If you're working in your
Mhm.
company, it could be to you, is great. But if you don't work in your company, then at least to your company. So the first thing is, how do they matter? Make them believe it. Create the idea in their minds that, and this goes against what a lot of people will tell you, make
Uh-huh.
them think they're irreplaceable. You're amazing. I
Right.
love you. I know, and we hear, right? You don't want anyone to think they're irreplaceable.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you the opposite. And there are a lot of people that will back me up. Have you guys read Patrick Lencioni? Anybody read him?
No.
Well, he's very popular, especially with service-based companies. One of his books is The Three Signs of a Miserable Job. I highly recommend you read it, because one way to build a great job is to know what people consider a bad job to be, right? So the three signs of a miserable job. And it, my matter, meaning, and measure are eerily on point with this book. When I found this book, I was like, whoa, that's so weird. Because one of the, I don't know what his wording is, but the three signs are people don't feel like they matter in your company.
Mm.
Second thing is they feel like there's no meaning in what they do. So my matter, meaning, and measure is make them see what the meaning is. What's the bigger meaning in your job? My guess is if you still work in your business, you you believe in your business for a reason. You want to help people. Sometimes you want to really help the client, sometimes you want to help their children, sometimes you want to help the employees, but you believe in your business. Would you guys say that's true? Do you have something that you, yeah? How about you,
Yeah.
Juan? What do you believe in for your business? Why is your business important?
We really focus on, we have, our mission is making improving the lives of our clients and our employees, and we have something called a pledge, and our pledge is that everyone that works for us has to have be able to afford a good quality of living, so they can raise their kids in a positive environment. That's how we sell or communicate our culture, so everyone that comes into our company knows that this is what we're doing out there for customers, and we expect their life to improve as well. We expect your life to improve with everything that we teach you, because we teach them about finances, health, and we're really trying to improve their lives. So that's
And so
kind
you're
of,
trying to improve lives all the way around on both sides of
yeah,
the coin, right?
yeah.
And so you're bringing meaning to your entire community.
Hmm.
You're bringing meaning in a really big way. Who else? Anybody else on here have something that you're bringing meaning?
So for me, I really branded the name of the company Made the Day. How can I make your day in any way we can? So that really revolves around the circle of life. So mind, body, soul, and home is what our mission and our value is for our clients. So when I do my bringing in my staff, they really have to embody the mind, body, soul
Ah,
of who they are as a person, so they can better reflect that in the client end of life.
nice.
So really it's about,
Nice.
we work in the homes and we provide the quality of life, peace, happiness, joy to bring soul to the table with your family. So I want them to leave with that same empowerment when they go home with their family. So it's really like Juan, we really
Same
feed
thing.
back to the circle of life.
Hmm.
Yeah, same thing, circle of life. So you have a strong message about how we are bringing meaning to the people that work for us and the people that we work for.
That's
So
right.
that's the meaning piece of never meaning and measure. And then the measure is, how do you measure whether or not you're meeting those things? Whether you are actually making people feel like they matter, and whether or not you are actually bringing the meaning. How are you measuring those things? And how can your people feel like those things are being measured so they can see whether or not they are up to standard?
Mm-hmm.
Because when we see our measure, a couple of things happen. When I know how I measure up, okay, on the scale, whatever the scale is, if I'm high on the scale, I feel awesome. If I am down a little bit, oh, I feel motivated. I want to be higher because I know what higher is.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm too low, I want out. I want out. I don't even feel like it's possible for me. How am I gonna? It's not possible. And if someone is too low on your measure, where do you want them? Out, right? Don't you
Yeah.
want them out? If they can't measure up, you want them to leave. They will. They'll self eject if they see that they are too low, but they have to see it. So, bringing these three things, matter, meaning, and measure, into your company will create are the tools for creating the culture that you want to create. Does that make sense? You guys see
Totally.
how all that ties together? All right. So then I always bring in this one last thing. It's the MMMA, okay? And the A, anybody have a guess what the A stands for?
No.
Accountability.
Accountability. Okay.
Yeah, which makes sense now. Now that I say it, it's like, oh yeah, I get it, right? Because people, would you guys guess that people want to be held accountable or don't want to be held accountable?
Depends on their personality, right?
Yeah.
So,
Explain that. I'm with Jacqueline. High
Yeah.
five over there.
Yeah, I'm a want.
So go ahead, Juan. Explain to me how it's their personality.
I mean, there's people that like to be held accountable, some not. It's just, I guess, depending on their personality style.
What kind of people don't want to be held accountable?
I think the lazy ones, the ones that don't want to really be
The people that you don't
confronted.
want working for you?
Yeah, pretty much.
So really what, if I can chime in there quickly, what I figured out in really trying to really pair up a good fit is really ones that really don't know what their why is themselves. They're undecisive, they're procrastinating, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're not a good fit. They feel lost in the system for self, right?
Absolutely.
So when you have that, what I do for the working interview, as I call it, they come to me and then I dig in a little bit deeper on just who they are as a person, so I can dig in a little bit more to their personality, because maybe they didn't score great with my interview person, but she still says they're worth having in front of me. So when I kind of dig in a bit more, because of who we are as mind, body, and soul, and I really focus on personal development, not just with myself, but with my team, I start to realize that, hold on a second, they're actually a good fit, but they need a little bit of hand holding and a push to open up that it's okay to give permission, to not be afraid and to ask for help or to ask for change. Sometimes they just don't know. So that's why I believe that accountability, everybody wants it. Some don't know how to receive it or ask for it. When you open up the door to opportunity, if that makes sense.
I'll go with Juan in I'm going to go with you. High five. 90% of the time, people want accountability. But I'm also going to go with Juan that there is the 10%, and those people are the people that you don't want working for you anyway.
Well, yeah, those are the ones that are not 100% not a fit. You're not there to be a psychologist and change their life, right?
Right. You know, thieves, people that steal regularly, they don't want to be held accountable.
No, they don't. They don't.
No, thieves don't want to be held accountable. People that lie as their general basic
rule of thumb
way of living, they also don't want to be held accountable.
No.
So I agree with you, Juan, that sometimes they don't. But for our purposes, the people that we want working for us want to be held accountable.
Majority, yes.
They enjoy it. They enjoy it. And initially, they might not even know that they want it or that they're going to like it. Right.
Do you ask, how do you know if somebody wants to be held accountable at the interview process during, well, you know, you're using the disc to determine this, or?
No.
How do you know?
So remember how I said it's sort of a 90-10 thing? So since I know that 90% of people enjoy being held accountable, I assume that everybody does.
Okay.
I just assume it. And then as soon as I start doing background checks, as soon as I start doing that personal check-in with their family members, would you recommend this person? If somebody does not like to be held accountable, if they steal, if they lie, if they are like hardcore drug addicts, and you get their sister on the phone, I promise you the sister's going to be like, yeah, no, she sucks.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And so I know this person doesn't want to be held accountable, but it's maximum 10%. And typically, do you guys find that a lot of people that are thieves and are like what's it called, compulsive liars, that's the majority of the people that apply for you at your company? Not for me.
No, I don't really get that. I do get a handful, but not majority. Not majority, no.
Neither. I mean, I've been doing this for, I don't know, since 93, however many years that is, 27, 28 years, something like that, right? And I can probably count, maybe in all that time, maybe 10. Maybe. But I can't even remember 10. I can remember 3 that are like, ooh, wow. They were scary. They were really scary. But for the most part, no. So I
had one that jumped through all the hoops in the interview.
Yeah.
And even jumped through the hoops with me, was very good at storytelling. And I was blinders were put on me somehow. I was sold by just all the recommendations and the referrals, everything, right? Right down to the references until the first week on the job. Then all you start seeing these non-accountability, as you say, popping up. I'm like, oh, red flag. So just because they pass through doesn't mean you let the blinders down. It could show through. It could show through and listen to the signs.
I agree. And we're talking today, the topic here is about creating company culture, right?
Yep.
So the whole point around creating company culture is that you never let down your guard, ever. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm just going to talk about me personally. I'm almost 65 years old, and I still don't know how I'm going to act sometimes. Sometimes I do things that I'm like, seriously, Liz, what the heck was that all about? Okay. So if I'm still having that problem, sometimes I'm acting in ways that I don't even have a clue that I'm like. I'm not expecting anybody out there to be perfect. I'm not. I understand, and I totally get that sometimes we do stuff that is really stupid. Like, Are we on board? We
Oh,
agree
yes.
that what you just did was stupid. You think so too? Okay, good. Whew, we're clear. If you don't think it was bad, and I do think it's bad, then we might have a problem, right? Because then we got that accountability problem. But if you think it's bad and I think it's bad, all right, let's move forward. So that's the whole deal about culture is you're not letting down your guard, just like you said, Jacqueline, right? You're paying attention and you're watching and you're continuing to mold and to create and to build all of those wonderful words. You're looking for how you can add more of what you want to your company. So you're not just creating a company culture, you're creating your company culture.
Yeah.
What matters to you, what you care about, what you love. When you come to your business and you see your people, you're like, I love that. I love that. They're awesome. I just love these people. Because really, if I had to boil company culture down to just one thing, if I had to, it would not be uniforms. It would not be whether or not they drive their own cars or my cars. It would not be the icon. It would not be the logo. It would not be any of those things. What it would be is the people.
Mm-hmm.
The people is the one thing that I would use to measure my culture. I would look at the people, who the people are, how the people act, what the people do. That's my culture. So when we're talking about matter, meaning measure, the things that we're measuring, do the people feel like they matter? Can I look at the people and can I see how they matter? What about them matters? Can I see that? How about meaning? Do all of the people in my company understand the meaning in my company? Do they in my company understand that we are contributing to the community? Or in your case, Jacqueline, do all of my people, are they proud of and feel passionate about that we are bringing this ease and comfort and that we're bringing this to our customers and also to our own families? And do they believe it?
Mm-hmm.
So do they see you doing what you say you're going to do? Because that's the other big
Yes.
linchpin, which we sort of hit on a little bit earlier. You say that we have a fun company, but then you don't act fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
You say that we care about family time, but then the employee says they need time off because their child's birthday, and you're like, yeah, no.
Yeah.